And I'm Rico.
And this is ATC Presents Daebak K-Rambles, where a couple of friends review Korean dramas. Except I've been watching K-dramas since 2012, and Rico is on his... What episode is this?
You're on fourth drama
your
ever.
Fourth K-drama ever. Thank you so much for coming back and listening to us. If this is your first time listening, go ahead and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and so many more. If you like us, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars, that goes such a long way to helping us out and getting more listeners.
Come check us out on social media and stay up to date on our latest episodes and reviews. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at ATC Daebak Pod. Lastly, if you're a fan, please consider actually donating or becoming a patron on Patreon actually is more like it. It's a great way for you to get involved in the show and show your support, because not only would you be supporting this show, which is, Daebak K-Rambles, but you would be supporting us on our main venture of Always the Critic. So you can always check that out on patreon.com/alwayscriticpod.
Yes. So, Rico, today we are going to be reviewing a show called W, Two Worlds, and it's a 2016 show. Do you want to give us the My Drama List synopsis?
Yes, I will go ahead and do that. It starts off with Oh Sung-moo, the father of a cardiothoracic surgeon. Oh Yeon-joo, that is the name, mysteriously goes missing while writing the last chapter of his webtoon W. Yeon-joo goes to his office looking, but a hand from his monitor suddenly pulls her in, and she finds herself on the rooftop of a building next to a man who is bloodied. She manages to save the person, only to realize that he is Kang-chul. I just want to make sure that I'm pronouncing it right. He is the main character of her father's webtoon. Yeon-joo later discovers she can only enter and leave the webtoon depending on Kang-chul's feelings.
Thanks for that, Rico. That's basically episode 1 of W. It originally aired from July to September 2016. It is 16 episodes long. And we do have some housekeeping to get out of the way. It was directed by Jung Dae-yoon. He directed Queen of Reversals, The King Two Hearts with Ha Ji-won and Lee Sung-gi. Those are 2 Hallyu stars right there. Great show if you haven't watched it already. He also directed Arang and the Magistrate, Cunning Single Lady, She Was Pretty with Park Seo-joon, and of course, I'm Not a Robot from 2017. It was written by Song Jae-jung. She wrote Queen In Yeon's Man, which is amazing. If you haven't seen it already, I highly recommend that 2012 show. And Song Jae-jung also wrote Memories of the Alhambra from 2018. You can catch that show on Netflix if you want to watch it. Although I watched it, it sucked. I did not like it at all. I wrote a review on the Daebak blog as well if you want to see my raw thoughts on that show. Okay, so W stars Lee Jong-suk as Kang-chul. This guy is very popular. He's been in a bunch of shows. He started out, I feel, his first real cameo was in Secret Garden. I don't want to say cameo. His first real role was basically in Secret Garden. And that's a major, major show. I Can Hear Your Voice, 2013, Doctor Stranger, Pinocchio, While You Were Sleeping, Romance is a Bonus Book is his most recent drama from 2019, also on Netflix, also sucks. And then it also stars Han Hyo-joo as Oh Yeon-joo. She mostly does an even amount of movies and TV. And so she started acting when she was very young, and I remember her first from the TV show Spring Waltz from 2006, and then she was also in Brilliant Legacy in 2009 with Lee Sung-gi, and then Dong-yi, which is a historical show from 2010. I really like her movie work. She did this movie called Always with Seo Ji-sub, which is one of my first K-drama crushes was Seo Ji-sub. I think he's 40-something years old, and I'm all in. So, so she did this movie with Seo Ji-sub. It's a tearjerker, so good. Masquerade in 2012, Love 911 in 2012, which is Really funny. That's a rom-com. And then The Beauty Inside from 2015, which has a very interesting premise that they actually turned it into a TV show as well. So you could watch The Beauty Inside movie and then watch The Beauty Inside K-drama as well. And to round out I'll just go with her dad in the show. Kim Ui-sung plays Oh Sung-moo. Okay, so now that we have all of that out of the way, we have the cast, we have the director, we have the writer, release, and everything. Rico, what did you think of W?
So W has a very interesting premise that immediately made me think of the 1984 music video for Aha, Take On Me.
Right.
Because it feels like it's the same exact thing.
You're not wrong.
Gets pulled into the comic book. The comic book is its own world. And things that happen on the outside world affect the comic. And vice versa.
For sure.
Interesting premise. Like,
yes, it is so interesting. And that's why it did pretty well, like in the ratings and stuff. It wasn't
it did.
gangbusters,
It did.
but the premise is so unique.
And that's why I wonder how I didn't like it. How they fumbled this,
and this
in
is,
my view.
This is something that I warned you about in the previous reviews that we've done in our conversations, is that you might have a show that starts super strong. Like W starts very strong with a bang.
Right, it's a strong premise.
Strong premise, really great characters, and somewhere along the way they just lose their shit and like the thread of it is just gone. And so you didn't like W at all?
Pretty much no, because I think that for the most part, I was intrigued by the premise, but as the show went on, it started to feel like it was spinning its wheels because it felt like the story was dragging out too long. And I don't know how you feel, but I did not really like either starring person.
Really?
No. I honestly, you know what it felt like to me?
Okay, I'm just going to withhold my thoughts so you can keep going.
You know what it felt like to me? Especially Lee Jong-suk.
Okay.
He felt not believable as like that lead character, because there's a lot of moments where he has to do action and he has to do like life-threatening stuff.
Yes.
And I did not find it believable at all because he looks so fresh-faced, so young, so model-ish. Like he looks like they just...
He started as a model.
Right. And so I think that's the problem. So it kind of reminded me when all these like freeform CW shows just grab like really good looking young people to star in like these dramas that they make. And you can tell that they don't quite have the acting there. And he did not quite have the acting there, because there are moments where he's trying to deliver either a look or a line, and I'm just like, I'm not buying this at all, man. So, and then on top of that,
okay, what else?
Han Hyo-joo, who plays Oh Yoon-joo, I'm not saying she is exactly like the girl from Boys Over Flowers. She is not like that. But hold on, I'm not done.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that there's a lot of moments where I'm looking at her character or I'm watching and I'm just like, I don't know if I even like what I'm seeing from her. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of got me to the point where I'm trudging through episodes to get to a payoff that in the end I didn't like or I didn't really care for. And it kind of had a problem with, you know, it's a great premise and they didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know how to do something very interesting or very fulfilling with it that's the problem.
Okay. So my thoughts are, well, I have to take it back because I watched this when this originally aired.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed the first half of the show. And to be quite honest, I remembered exactly the first 8 episodes of the show in rewatching it. it was very clear to me. I was like, oh yeah, this happens. Oh yeah, they say this. Oh yeah, this person does this. So very memorable to me, the first half of the show. And I would argue that the first 8 episodes are the best 8 episodes of the whole show. And the feeling that I had while watching W originally back in 2016 was that I really like these characters. And I really love this premise. It is extremely unique. It is catchy. However, the way that they decided to take the plot, and this is how I felt originally, was bogus. It was total bullshit. I felt like they didn't know how to end the show, that the writers were grasping at straws, that they just made it super convoluted because they seemed to be writing week to week instead of feeling like they had this whole entire picture in mind for the show and a clear-cut ending of where it was going to resolve. And in rewatching it, I feel the exact same way that I did in 2016, where I wish so much better for these characters and for these actors and for this, whole world that they built. I just want it to be better, and I wish that they had taken it in such a different direction, and I don't know what that direction should be. But it's not this.
No, it's not what we got. So it's kind of hard to say, it should have gone in this direction when we don't know what it should have been, but we both know it's not this.
Yes.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of a show that I watched back in the early 2000s or 2010s called Flash Forward. It was with Joseph Fiennes, Ray Fiennes' brother. And John Cho, like it had like some good people on it, but basically the premise of the show is that basically a series revolves around the lives of several people as a mysterious event causes nearly everyone on the planet to simultaneously lose consciousness for 2 minutes and 17 seconds.
How does that remind you of W?
Hold on. No. The reason why is because it starts off with a very interesting premise. Like, wait a minute. Everybody on Earth blacked out for like this exact specific time. And then there's the mystery of solving why that happened. And so the first half of the first season is like, oh, this is really cool. This is like a very interesting like mystery and stuff. But once they get to the point where they kind of like almost figure it out and then what is the next step?
Yes.
The writers, you could tell, did not know what the next step was.
Right.
And the show got canceled after one season because they couldn't figure out what to do. It was very frustrating to watch. So that's how I felt in this.
That's how I felt, especially after episode 8. I was like, oh, why? They're fumbling it. They're messing it up, In this case, when I was watching it this time around, I was able to pinpoint what exactly it reminded me of. So you said a show Flash Forward. To me, it reminded me a lot of like Tron Legacy because of them getting sucked into the game or the world.
Yeah.
Reminded me of Truman Show a lot because the main character is affected by people, creators acting as God and not allowing him to make choices about his own life. And so that's very prevalent in Truman Show, and that's running throughout W. It reminded me of The Matrix because they end up being able to enter and exit this alternate fake world.
Exactly.
Reminded me of Inception a lot because the creators or architects can manipulate the physical world and copy something from the real world that ends up having an interesting parallel world implications.
Right.
It reminded me of Pleasantville, the movie Pleasantville, getting sucked into the world again. And then the inhabitants of this world start to unravel the truth about their world and their existence. This same thing as W. And then this is a little bit of a pull, but I thought of Jordan Peele's Us.
Okay.
Because, and this might be getting into spoiler territory, so I'll just stop right here. But basically, I'll cover why Jordan Peele's Us reminds me of W. Yes. Were there any parts of the show that you were really excited for, or you were like, oh, I can't wait till we get to this again?
So I think the most interesting thing, obviously, it happens early on, it's when we see for the first time that she gets pulled into the comic world. But it's an alternate reality. So I found that interesting. Like, oh, so she is affecting what's happening in the comic. But then I did not expect for the reverse to happen, pretty much, where like the other side of the world is affecting this as well. I did not expect that. So that was really cool. So when that happened the very first time in the show, I was like, oh, this is a really cool concept. Like, let's really play around with this to see what more can the outside world affect what's going on in there.
Yeah.
Really play with that idea. And they do for the first few episodes. And I really enjoyed that. And then for some reason, they kind of like tail off and they decide to reverse it. No, I'm not trying to sound like Missy Elliott here. But like they decide for our lead character to come out of the comic pretty much.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I'm not going to get into spoiler territory here, but basically they decide to do something with the character that now that character's not around for a couple of episodes, and it's like, or for like an episode or whatever. And then they immediately backtrack on that, and it's like, so what are the rules of the world? Like,
yes, that is a big complaint that I have, is that they set up these rules, hard and fast rules about this world, and then they just break all of them by the end of the show. Or it starts changing and they call it like, with all things being the same, this should happen. And that's like guessing what should happen in the comic book world. And then they introduce variables, and the characters even call them variables, and they're like, unless a variable pops up, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
That is pretty lame.
Like, what variable?
Label it that way.
Yeah. So that was very frustrating. For me, the most exciting part of the show was definitely the romance between Kang-chul and Oh Young-ju.
Right.
And to me, that's what made it so compelling, is that they somehow have this really good chemistry, and they're trying to turn the tables on the genre of the show, of the comic book, the manhwa.
Of the comic book, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not going to give anything away, but like their moments together are really good. And so whenever it kind of got towards that territory, or whenever they were together or they were having some sweet moment, I was like, yes, like this feels right for the show. And then it would double back on itself, and it would commit more towards the mystery, the logistics of the world being flipped upside down, and the criminal aspect of the show. And it was just that part they didn't seem to have as down as like, these characters should end up together. Like that's like the through line that they committed to from the very beginning. And you get a sense of that with the really solid relationship between them throughout the whole show. And so I found that a positive. That being said, I don't like that they're trying to switch genres in the middle of the show. You know?
Thank you.
I don't like that.
Yeah. Like, not only during the show they're switching genres, but also the tone of the show will change.
Yes.
Like within scenes.
Yes.
Like, there's a moment where somebody is like brutally shot, and there's blood and everything. And the very next scene, it's like comical with like this lighthearted music.
Right.
And it's like, it's kind of hard to keep a straightforward line.
W
with what
stands
the
for
show is supposed
whiplash.
to be. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to keep track of what is the show supposed to make us as an audience want to follow when it's constantly bouncing back and forth.
Yeah. I feel like we discussed what really irked us about this show already and what we really dislike about the show, but we can go more into spoilers later. On a scale of 1 to 5, how pissed would you be if you were a fan of this webtoon in this world?
If I was a fan of the webtoon itself,
Yes, the manhwa.
pretty upset because at the end of the day, you usually read, these comics or webtoons for the hero. And, if your hero is going to be killed off, like that's upsetting enough.
Uh-huh.
But then the way like sometimes I even lost track of how it actually ends because they keep like going back and like we can change something, and it's like, okay, now what's happening? Because they keep going back and doubling back on themselves. That was the problem. They didn't have a clear ending, and just when you think you got the ending of the webtoon, no, they change it again.
Right.
So it was a frustrating.
It's frustrating.
Experience.
So 5, you'd say? Really upset.
Oh God.
Me personally, I don't know if I would be as committed to a webtoon that is this genre.
No.
It's like a crime thriller action manhwa.
I don't mind that. If they decide to lean one way or the other, it would make a lot more sense, and it would be more of a continuous and actual believable story if they commit to one rather than, trying to straddle both lines, or even doing 75-25 in either direction would probably make more sense. Like having like an action thriller where there is a romantic subplot, would work, or it's a romantic, story with this element of, sci-fi or however you want to label it. But this was
very herky-jerky, wishy-washy, unclear. Yeah, what direction they wanted to go in. Was there a character that you really connected with or were most invested in at any point?
It was kind of hard to like truly invest because I wasn't invested in the two main characters. So that made it hard to invest in anyone besides that.
Like there's not a lot of cast to go with.
No, it's a very light cast.
Yeah.
So, who you're looking at from pretty much episode 1, that's pretty much it going forward.
Yeah.
So if I had to put it on someone, maybe the dad who's the artist.
Really?
Because he is an artist who is struggling. Like he has, an idea for what he wants to do with his tune, but the world is being affected. So everything that he does, he is getting
thwarted.
Stopped. He's getting thwarted from his vision, So I kind of related to that. Yeah, I sympathize with him.
Yeah.
Or empathize, sympathize. I've been in situations where I've tried to create and I've been thwarted myself. So I can sympathize and empathize.
With the dad, okay.
With the dad. I know, of all characters.
I feel like I really connected with Oh-yeon-ju because she is like the every girl. Like she's not a very good doctor.
No.
She's pretty average. The only thing she has going for her is her looks, which she's not 100 on either. She's like, I'm a beauty. Like she's like very surprised that people find her attractive. So that's
oh God.
But I really like how she is a dreamer almost. And it's very slight that you get this impression that she is kind of like a hopeless romantic because she's so realistic of a personality. Like she's like,
she feels like a real character.
Yes, she felt real in that sense where she wasn't like, I don't know, she came from a divorcee family. She's living with her mom and she doesn't get to see her dad all the time. And she's pretty, at work, she's not very popular and she has to like kowtow to her boss and stuff like that. That really kind of felt non-main character to me.
Right. So
I liked her a lot in that sense. And her reactions felt really genuine to me. I know you did not like her acting, did not like Casey's acting as well. I'll call him Casey for Kangcho. So I don't think you had any thoughts on chemistry because you already said you just didn't believe them.
No. Like, there's one scene in particular that I'm just like, what the hell are they doing? Like, it didn't feel natural. It didn't feel, and we'll talk about it in spoilers if you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I was not sold on their love story.
Okay. So. We'll talk about this in spoilers. Last thing before we get into spoilers, OST. What'd you think of the OST?
I thought it was fine. I have a hard time gauge. Oh, you know what? I did have one particular note, though.
What?
there were certain action moments that had the same theme that started out a certain way, and like you'll recognize it if I do it. It's like
Oh yeah.
That is the very beginning of Danny Elfman's version of Avengers from Avengers Age of Ultron. If you listen to it, it's the same exact starting. You'll hear it and you'll be like, oh my God, they ripped them off. They ripped off Danny Elfman, that beginning part.
Okay,
yes.
All right.
Clearly.
Wow. Fine. So I found the OST amazing. I thought it was unassailably good. I really enjoy that OST even to this day, and I remember the first episode ending for my rewatch. I was like, oh shit, fuck, I forgot like how good the OST is, and the centerpiece is this song "Where Are You" by Jung Young, and that was like the that like breathy like song that they put at the end of every episode.
Every episode, yeah.
Loved it. It's in my K-drama OST Spotify playlist. I think that OST slaps. So we'll talk about major themes, more qualms and nitpicks, and weak links, and we're just going to pick it apart in spoilers right after this.
Excuse me, 뭐라고?
괜찮아.
You know, I have no 친구. Oh, sorry.
Swear, disgusting shit.
What?
All right, so we're going to talk spoilers now. Rico, I want to come back to this thing that you said. You were talking about the chemistry between the leads, and you were like, there is this moment that I did not like. I thought they were stretching.
Yes.
What was that moment?
So there's a moment, I can't remember exactly which episode, but it's kind of early on. There is a moment where they are in his apartment or his like suite, and like his friends are outside of the room, and he has a gun, and he is trying to get answers, right, to what is going on. But there's clearly supposed to be like some type of, something going on between them, some type of chemistry.
Okay, yeah.
You're supposed to try to believe that he is obviously trying to get answers, but he's trying to get to know her.
Oh, the bathroom scene.
Bathroom, yeah, it was the bathroom.
He shoots her.
And he shoots her. But that's not my qualm. My qualm is not with the fact that he shoots her.
Okay, what's the qualm?
My qualm is that I didn't find any of like their interaction as a believable thing that these two are going to end up together.
Okay. You didn't think they were going to end up together?
It didn't feel like it. Like, I know that the show and, they're trying to telegraph that these two are going to end up together, and every interaction happens to be them together, and they're saving each other from different situations. But man, did like their actual chemistry never had me, really sold on the fact that, oh yeah, no, I could totally see them together.
Okay.
Like, so it just never felt that way.
Here's my thing, is that in my second watch, I was looking for places where they seem to really connect and have great chemistry, their meet cute and all that stuff. And I still feel that the reason why I think they have great chemistry is not because they have great chemistry. It's because they're just two beautiful people caught up in this like grand story together. And they are smushed together every chance that the story allows. And they don't have like a moment where you're like, oh, that's when he fell in love with her. Oh, that's when she fell in love with him. And you know what I'm saying? There's always that moment where you're like, that's it. Like, they might hate each other, or they might, have no issues with each other. But that's the moment where you find that they're committed to each other for some reason or another. And there was no like moment in time where you're like, oh, I understand their commitment to each other. Right. She saves him at the very beginning from dying, and you have a thought.
It reminds me, the premise is not the same, but having two actors, good-looking actors that are pressed together and they're supposed to be a romantic interest in a movie, and it just does not work as much as the plot is driving them to.
Right.
And that is, there was a movie, it's with Ashton Kutcher and Katherine Heigl.
Where?
Killers, I believe, or something like that, where like somehow Ashton Kutcher is like some secret spy. But the two of them, good-looking people, and the plot is forcing them together, and like the plot is trying to make you believe like, yeah, these two are going to end up together because everything they do makes them, you know, romantically involved, but you just don't buy it because those two together, it's like you're watching them on screen and it's like, there's nothing there.
I do and I don't feel that way about this coupling of Casey and Yeonju. The beginning where she saves him, she plunges like a pen into his chest and he like comes to.
He comes to.
Like they're like
in slow motion.
In
just
slow
like,
motion, he like lifts his body up and they're face to face, really close to each other. And I'm like, is that the moment they expect us to be like, ooh, yeah, they're going to try and like do anything possible to be with this person. And that's not a good moment. You're just like, oh my God, like, it's so abrupt and aggressive and like high stakes and there's no words exchanged between them. Like it's just this visual. And I think the whole thing about this is like they're going for the visuals versus the substance of a real relationship where you have conversations and you have these moments of getting to know one another. Like he doesn't even know her really until a few episodes in. It feels like
they're just moving from set piece to set piece because the show still has to go about its business about being about a webtoon and the world being affected. So it kind of feels like they're just moving from set piece to set piece instead of having genuine interactions with each other.
It had made no sense to me why he was like, after he comes to and he's in the hospital and his people are surrounding him, he's like, find this girl. I believe she's the key to my life. She can help me find the reason for my existence. And I'm like, why do you feel that way?
Where did you get that
Where did
from?
you get that? Yeah. So in my mind, I was like, that doesn't make any sense, and like logged it away. And it really, that's the reason, the impetus for him even summoning her to the world is that he's like, she has some kind of key. She's some sort of, she has the answers that I'm looking for. And like, it does not make any lick of sense.
It does not.
No.
I agree.
No. So we were talking about the dad very briefly because you connected with, you know, the dad in this.
At least a little bit.
I found the first few episodes with the dad really upsetting for me because he is sadistically happy while killing off Casey. And
he is.
His assistant was like, oh yeah, your dad's so sick and tired of drawing the same character for like almost a decade. He wanted to kill him off with every fiber of his being. And I was like, that's a lot. Like, that's a lot to handle. Like, that's your paycheck, is this character, you know?
Yes.
And there were no complaints from the fans saying, oh, we want it to end. Oh, the quality's going down. Oh, all this stuff. Like, no, it was just the dad having this idea that his creation is a monster. And I'd rather be eaten. I'd rather eat than be eaten, or whatever the quote was on the back of that. The postcard or whatever.
Oh, man.
So it is really a bizarre intro for the dad.
It is,
you know,
a
passing
bizarre
judgment on his own creation as a god. You know, how can I leave him as he is? I'm about to be consumed. Like, why does the dad feel he's going to be consumed if it's like either it's him or me? But why? You know, even when we get those flashbacks of like when Kang Cho like really started rebelling against his vision, the creator's vision for the story, these were very microaggressions, you know? Yes, the whole trajectory of the story changed, but it wasn't like there was a threat to the creator at any point.
No.
So
there wasn't.
So that was very confusing for me.
So I think maybe this is just like putting like my fake psychiatry hat or something.
Okay.
But there are times where I think a lot of people who have created something eventually get tired of having to continuously do the same thing for that creation instead of being able to innovate and create new things. You get this a lot with people who write music and then have to perform the same song over and over. And it's not even sometimes like their greatest creation. Sometimes it's like something that they came up with that was just good enough, and then it just took off. And like the fan response for the webtoon, you know, people love the character and this and that, but the creator's like, shit, this is not all that I want to do in my life. There's other things or other creations I want to dive into. So I can understand him wanting to be like, okay, I'm kind of done with that now. I want to move past that.
I think
the
it
same
went
thing
beyond,
with TV actors.
Yeah, I totally understand the idea of wanting to quit this really monotonous life of creating the same thing over and over again. And it's not even what you consider your best work. Obviously, I completely understand that. I understand the concept of characters, especially in literature, feeling like they have a lot of agency over their own stories, and then the creator or the writer is just the mouthpiece, and they're like, well, she wants to go on an adventure, so I had to write another book. Like, things, they say shit like that. Like, writers are constantly like, well, I didn't think that she should have gotten with this guy, but, you know, it was her decision. And you're like, if you created the character, you're the one writing it. What is this?
You're the one that decided or decides what this character wants, not the other way around.
In that respect, I totally understand where the show was going when it had this really interesting relationship between Casey and the creator, the dad. But the reason, and I'll get to this now, why I thought Jordan Peele's Us was a big reminder for me is that the villain ends up being in control of the creator. And they end up being these twisted twins, doppelgangers. One is a shadow puppet.
Correct.
And that reminded me a lot of Jordan Peele's Us, where like the people from underneath are at the mercy of their doppelganger up above, living their life as if nothing is happening. So that was a really interesting concept. And again, the show is just so interesting to think about and ponder. The execution of these twisted twins. Do we want to talk about that? Because that is a major spoiler for the show and how it ends. That is a huge
spoiler. Yeah.
Where it ends up being that the villains of the show take over the world and become essentially the main characters of the show. And the anonymous, faceless villain that killed Casey's whole entire family. Had no face to begin with, and I understand that from like a writer's creator's perspective, that you just wanted a device to amp up the story and give the hero a reason to become a hero and go on this hero's journey.
But the problem with that particular device is that you make it into a mystery now.
Right. Like, he made the whole thing into a mystery. The Casey in the manhwa started like the TV show W to figure out like who killed his whole family and framed him for it.
Right, because something about storytelling is you cannot introduce something into the story unless there is going to be a resolution or payoff, aka Chekhov's gun. That is like the number one like reference for people. And if you don't know what that means, Chekhov's gun is a story by Chekhov. He wrote that if there is a gun that is shown or placed in a story in the first act, it has to be fired by the third act. So that means that if something is placed in the story, it has to have a purpose and a resolution by the end. So putting in that device there, like a faceless man, like who was the initial, response, or basically the reason why everything starts going. Well, he's not going to be faceless by the end.
Right. He shouldn't be faceless.
He shouldn't be. Yeah. So, if him as a writer is like going in there and be like, well, no, he's just the catalyst for getting everything started. No, people are going to be like, no, who is that? Who is the masked man? We need to know. So
for the fact that I understand it, but at the same time, I'm like, that's stupid as shit.
Yes.
So how he resolves this issue to, if Casey is trapped by his own predetermined, set course, and because of the way that he was designed, he's always going to be looking for this killer and will not have peace until he finds this killer. Then give him a face, give him an identity so that I can find him in the world. That was Casey's whole thing when he confronted the dad creator. The dad creator gives the assassin his own face.
Right.
And in turn, the villain, the serial killer, if you will, steals the dad's face. And the dad goes maybe, 6-7 episodes with no face. The killer steals his face. I found that so gruesome.
Right.
I completely forgot. Again, I've only remembered the first 8 episodes. So when this happened and the assistant, his apprentice, finds him faceless, I freaked the hell out. I was like, oh my God, that's right. You're shaking your head.
No, I'm just saying, like
It's dumb.
it's dumb.
No lie, it's like dumb as shit.
It really is. Like they thought about, something like Face Off or or even Buffalo Bill from like Silence of the Lambs, like someone's face and wearing their faces.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a great idea.
By episode 10, you have this like villain saying things like "you are me and I am you," and like it's a weird curse or just a declaration that they're linked because they have the same face. And
Right.
The villain has his own awakening / rebellion against the creator, and now that the villain is in control of the world through the creator, like it was completely reminded me of Us, where the tables get turned in that same way.
Right. And you have the doppelgangers from below, or the other way around. But anyway, like the ones below are the ones that come up to like make themselves revealed and known and have their own agency.
So, yeah, that was really tough for me. And then the dad just can't really outpace the villain and his desires, even once the villain gets killed. Like, yes, he gets his face back, but now he gets all the villain's memories. And it's like weird. Like, where is that written? Like, no rules.
There's no rule to it. Thank you.
No rules.
That was my biggest thing. Like, I understand if the world can be affected by everything that he's doing outside of the world. But like for memories to be inserted and like, physical consequences didn't really make sense because the rules weren't well established.
I didn't like how everyone started being able to summon these portals to get around.
Oh God. That pissed me off. Like, I was
really
like,
annoying.
So anyone can do this now.
Right. Yeah, anyone who has
and
this
anyone
like
can
awakening,
like summon like a weapon
epiphany, they can just like maybe not summon it, but like there is a creator on the other end that's like doing it for them.
No, but like it basically was summoning because Lee Jong-suk, KC, like at one point in the later episodes, I think it was episode 15, he's in handcuffs, and this sucker not only imagine the handcuffs off, like he like imagines a key to take off the handcuffs, and then imagines a gun materializing out of nowhere. And it's
no, he didn't imagine that. That was the dad.
Well, that was the dad. You're right.
So.
But like
here, I'll. That one was it again. If we had recorded this a week later, I would have totally forgotten this. But what happened was he was in the game for a year. Because it's the final episode, he can't teleport out back into the real world because it's making him live it out in the game. In the comic. I keep saying game.
He's making him live out the entire year.
The world construct is making him live it out. So he lived a year in jail, and just when he thought it was all over, the dad, who was also stuck in the game for a year, got out of his mental institution by killing a nurse and went to the secret hideout where he hid another copy of the what's it called? The tablet.
The
The tablet. And then he started drawing shit into the world. And so he drew him out of the handcuffs, gave him a gun, helped him escape, drew him a car, and then led him to where he was in this, it looked just like the house in real life, but it was a safe house in the world.
Right.
So again, like, it still doesn't make a ton of sense. Like, why was the dad and Kang-jo like stuck in the game for a year? And in the real world, it was sense. 2 months. It was like...
That doesn't make sense. There's a lot.
There's so much. They bring homegirl back to life. Yeonju. She dies in the manga.
I know, she dies.
My favorite part was when they were like, oh, we performed CPR on her for over 30 minutes and it's not looking very good. She's kind of brain dead. And I was like, you performed CPR on her for over 30 minutes? Like, what did you expect? How did you continue doing CPR for 30 minutes? I thought, like, there must be a cutoff. Like, if they're doing CPR.
Hell, after 5, you're just like, okay,
let's call it. So I thought that was just ridiculous as well. Like I said, the cloning of the tablet in and out of the game, the world, was such a cop-out.
It really was. Because then anything can be changed at any given time. And that doesn't really make for a fun device. Like, it opens up the world to whatever you want it to be, but it breaks the rules of the story. And that's no fun. Because then anything can happen, and then you're just like, well, are there stakes? Are the stakes real enough where characters are actually in danger?
Right.
And so that's the problem with something like that.
Yeah. I think that the most interesting part of the story was that they were constantly testing the waters and trying to get characters to go against their nature and find their own agency outside of the creator's wishes and outside of the creator's vision, which is what Casey was trying to do the whole time. But Sohui, his assistant in the world, she also was like on the verge of disappearing because she outlived her purpose within the game. She started disappearing, that whole thing. And at the end, the same thing happens where she like outlives her purpose. She gets fired, she moves on. And that's the difference, is that she manages to start a life beyond her predetermined fate. And I think that was really profound, especially for a female character to do it first.
Yes.
And for her to be like, yeah, I was overseas. What's going on with Casey? Like, it was like very much a nice resolution for that character. She actually had an arc to her. All of the other characters like Casey and Yeonju, they don't really have an arc. They are the same as when they started.
They're the same. They don't really change.
No.
They don't.
They don't change.
Which kind of sucks as
like
characters that you're watching.
The only characters that do change are like the creator character. He has a really crazy arc. And Sohui as well. She changes by the end.
You're right. Yeah.
She's very independent and has her own thing, and she doesn't need Casey to live in this world.
That's a big problem with characters. Something you'll notice here in American TV shows, that'll happen with, you see it a lot on comedies especially, where characters, they have minimal growth early on in a show, and then they just stop changing. And then the writers just keep writing the same story and jokes over and over for that character, and the character doesn't change anymore.
Right.
And so that's when shows start to become stale, when you don't have anything interesting to do with the character and a character arc.
And that's probably why I liked the first 8 episodes, is that it felt the most cohesive, and you had the story constantly surprising them and pushing them into really precarious situations. And after that, you can't just get away with that for the rest of the show.
No,
that's what they did. They tried to still keep with that formula. But at the halfway point, you should start to see some growth in the characters, and you should definitely start to see some character arcs. And we were not getting that as our main 2 people.
Especially with a show that only lasts 16 episodes. because
Yes.
this is not an American show. This is not something that's going to go on for seasons.
Right.
So you have to make sure that you establish an arc that is different enough from the beginning point. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and then you stall out on a character, and that is never good.
So did you have any nitpicks about the show?
I think I labeled down a lot of the things that I didn't like. So I don't know if I would say nitpicks as much as just issues with the show.
Okay.
Because nitpicks would more imply that I like the show, but here's a little thing that maybe I didn't like or whatever.
So I have nitpicks. Maybe some
Go
of these
ahead.
will trigger some of yours in the back of your mind. So in the episode 4, Casey says in his world, what do I become if I get stabbed by a woman? Because the reporters are insinuating that Yeonju is the one that stabbed him, is like the person that nearly killed him. Even though it's not true, there's no evidence, all this stuff. And he says this, like, what do I become if I get stabbed by a woman? Which is a misogynistic statement.
Yeah, but that really leans into how women are viewed.
Like, she's not someone who's not a
Asian culture.
threat
Right.
stabs me. Like, what does that make me? I'm like, you
Right.
know.
That it's all about insinuating about their manhood and stuff like that, which is dumb.
I didn't like that. There was too much lip, nose, and chin quivering from Casey. I thought that was too much. Yeah, this is not a nitpick, but it goes, I think, in this category. The scene of Yeonju getting sucked back into the comic and underwater was super cool. That was super cool. They must have flooded the set or something, because she's like on the phone talking to somebody, and then all of a sudden she can't hear them, and then like boom, she's like in the water.
Yeah, they
Water's
must have done
rising.
like some tub thing that with like CGI, or not even CGI. Maybe it was a different thing, but yeah, that was pretty cool.
I don't think they covered, and this is a nitpick, why was she such a great artist? Like, all of a sudden, the assistant, the apprentice, is like, oh, I heard this thing once that your dad took the concept for Casey from you and your drawings from when you were a teenager. Like, you basically thought him up, and he's your creation. So you're also like a creator god. And then she's like, what? And like immediately is amazing at drawing.
So my question was, I'm trying to remember, what episode did this happen in? Do you remember?
This is
like,
episode 7.
Ooh, that is too late to be introducing that. An introduction to that, where like, you know, she was also in the whole artistry, should have been in the first 2 episodes, not
Right.
in episode 7.
Yeah. Yeah. She was like, what?
It kind of feels like they forgot. Like they, you know, we need a way for her to be able to draw too. And they didn't think of it early enough.
And they were like, ooh, what if we make it that Casey was like her dream guy?
She was the one that
She was the
created it.
one that created it. Like,
It's like, you couldn't tell us that in episode 2? Like that's the better place to have that. But
or just have her at least be doodling or something in her off time, and she's very good.
thank you. Yeah, show us.
Show us. Don't tell us. So anyway, that was really annoying. There were so many shopping sprees. That is a very K-drama thing to do. Instead,
Yeah,
take
it
the
was-
main girl shopping.
Those are the moments I was just like, okay, let's move on.
It was too much. Like, too much of a thing. There was a scene in episode 7 where she is asleep and she falls out of bed while she's sleeping, and she's fully dressed, and the outfit looks like Dorothy from Wizard of Oz. But all the lights are on and it's bright as hell in the room. And I'm
But
like,
she was in bed.
how the hell was she asleep when it looks like noon out in this room? It's just really stupid. The dad took an 18-hour flight to New Zealand and flew coach.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Bro, he should have been in first class. Should have had champagne. Like, he was a famous cartoonist. Definitely had them royalties coming in. Had his own production house. Like, no, he was not flying
he would have
coach.
easily been flying at least business class.
Yeah, so that was very annoying. Did you like when she brought the comic into the world, and that's how Casey realized that he's in a comic? a second time. Just like, oh my God.
I feel like that's just breaking too much of the world. You know, like
Casey summons the killer into the real world just by thinking about him.
Bro, nah. See, like summoning the killer? No, man. See, like all of that summoning stuff is ridiculous.
Okay.
Like,
so
it just breaks the world.
It does.
It's not fun. Like, the first time you're, like, shocked. Like, whoa, like, they're doing this. But then any other time after that, it's just like, wait a minute. But they could just do whatever they want now.
Mm-hmm. Last thing. The famous prison visitation kiss. I feel like this is a famous kiss. And yeah, I would say this is a pretty well-known kiss where she goes, I love you, for the third time. And that's a running thing where he's like, if she tells it to me one more time, I think it will fall for her. And she does it.
What is this? Like Peter with the 3 crows before the rooster crows 3 times?
You will deny me 3 times, except you'll tell me I love you 3 times. And the third time is the charm. So yeah, she makes him, his heart stirs or whatever. The to be continued like scribble comes up.
Yeah.
And then she pops out and pops right back in. And she's like, why do you keep summoning me back into this world or whatever? You keep thinking of me. And he says, I was afraid I would never see you again. And then boom, they start making out in the visitation room. That's very famous.
Gotcha.
I don't know what to... you have no reaction. You're just like... Okay.
You know what it is? I do not have the same sensibility when it comes to romantic stuff as people watching K-dramas. Because from what I gather, and again, this is only my 4th show.
This is your 4th one. So I can't be upset at you for being like whatever about something that's actually quite impressive about a show, especially when it comes to physical stuff. Like you're just like, yeah, they were kissing.
Yeah, they kissed. Cool.
No,
like I understand if this was like their first kiss, like that really, and it's not even because they do kiss before that, like just randomly in moments. But I guess the sensibility coming from the Western side here is that when there is like that moment of love, like in a premise of a show that's similar to this, let's say, there's a build up to that. There is like flirtation, and then there's like, you know, there's like physical moments, and then like a climactic moment is where like the kiss happens. A lot of the things that I noticed that people get, you know, kind of hyped for on Korean shows are like things that would never get talked about at all on an American show. Like, oh, they held hands, and it's like cool. Like, why is that a big deal?
You've heard me and Miguel talking about K-dramas, and we're like joking about wrist grabs and piggyback rides and shit like that. And it's deep and it's real. Like when you're in it, you're just like, you have a timer in your head. You're like, okay, by episode 10, if it's a romance drama or you have a couple, they're going to kiss by episode 10. And if they don't kiss, people get upset. And if they don't kiss at all in the show, people get pissed.
People get, you know, I imagine that.
And people judge the kisses, and like it's very common for there to be tight-lipped kisses and pecks and things that are really not satisfying to see, especially when you're invested in the couple. And in this case, you had like a full-on makeout session, and it was like great. But in other shows, I swear to you, it is hard out there. It's very difficult to find a show that has a great couple that also has really good skinship, is like the term skinship. And you're laughing at me, and that's fine. That's fine. I know that people listening won't understand what I'm saying, especially if you've gotten this far into our review of W. But
fair enough.
Yeah, I know that scene has made the rounds, and it is something.
Fair enough. I'm pretty sure that among Korean shows, that is a big deal. That's a huge moment.
Yeah.
It just didn't clock for me on my radar.
It doesn't even show up as a blip on like, oh yeah.
Yeah, like for me, it's just like, oh, they kissed. Like they like each other, they love each other, but like it's not like, oh my God, they kissed. No, like for me, it's never.
I would say that the general reaction to kissing scenes is like a touchdown in football. Like you're just like, yes, they did it, it happened.
Oh wow,
that is the general reaction, I would say.
Wow,
100%.
That is a completely different reaction.
Then you're just like
Western.
Fine, whatever. Like they're kissing.
Yeah, or in a show or something, maybe you'll be like, hey, they got together. Hey, look at that. Or, or if it's something that's very obviously telegraphed, like they're leading to it and and it's like, there we go, finally. But never like,
there is an expectation. Like,
I'll give you an example of one show here in the United States where people were waiting, or two shows actually. And it's shows that we've mentioned that either we don't like or whatever, but like the show Friends, for example.
Yeah.
Ross and Rachel, like the buildup was so big that when they finally had their first kiss, like people went nuts.
Well, imagine that for, I'm not saying it's Friends level frenzy.
No, I know. But that enthusiasm for the moment.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
No, I get it. But the thing is that it's so rare here in the United States because the only other example I can think of would be on The Office with Jim and Pam.
Yes.
That was another thing that people were like, is it going to happen? And just the build up. But not every show has that. Not every show has like characters that you're just like, they need to end up together. And you're just like aggressively waiting for it type of thing.
Okay.
So that's why when it happens here, it's rare. It's like, it's a rare moment.
It is rare.
In Western shows.
Yeah.
But in Korean shows, it's kind of like, it's an expectation, not only that it needs to happen, but there's the satisfaction of it finally happening as well.
It's like once it finally happens, then you judge how good it was.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to get across. So I don't think we've given our rankings yet. I'm going to change things up a little bit. We usually do the letterbox rating, which is 5 stars, and we do half stars.
Right.
However, we now have a logo. We were recording this so far in advance that we didn't have a logo, and now that it's created, there's a soju bottle in our logo. And so, how many soju bottles would you give this show out of 5 soju bottles?
I would give it 2 soju bottles.
2 soju bottles? What the hell? Okay, let me calm down. 2.
Yeah.
No half star or nothing. Just 2.
No. I don't need another drink. Like 2 is fine. We're good. I'm going to call it a night. 2 soju bottles.
Okay, I'm going to give it... I'm going to give it, for nostalgia's sake, 3 soju bottles out of 5.
3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Middle of the road.
Got it. Yeah.
Although I was pretty upset about a lot of things, as you could already tell. But I'm going to go with 3, which is a safe bet. If you had asked me this in 2016, I would have put maybe 3.5 or 4.
Got it. But again, bottles. You're revisiting I'm with revisiting a
different lens, few years of podcasting and movie reviews under my belt, and I have a different K-drama palette than I did back then. And I feel like I can just articulate a little better what I didn't like and what's an issue with the show. So 3 for me, 2 for you.
Correct.
I think that's a wrap on W. Oh my God, I rhymed!
Good Lord. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
Maybe you know it, maybe you don't. But did you know that W is coming to the United States?
What do you mean?
So in April
saying?
This year, a couple of months ago.
Rico, I'm not prepared for this.
The Masked Singer executive producer Craig Plestis, has basically bought the rights for the Korean supernatural format W, Two Worlds, for CBS Studios.
No.
So they are going to make that show here in America.
Oh my God, I'm freaking out. I'm like buzzing. They just...
And, they described the premise of the same show.
To a T?
Yeah, pretty much to a T. So they don't have like anyone going, but this is the same guy who has, bought and sold different scripts that have been made into American shows like The Good Doctor.
Oh.
Apparently that was a Korean show that got made into, and that's in its 4th season.
Holy shit.
There's a TV adaptation.
I didn't even realize.
Parasite is coming to HBO.
Yes, I knew about that.
He's the one that took the concept of Masked Singer, brought it over here.
Oh my gosh.
So he's
mining K.
Oh yeah, he's mining K Entertainment, and so now he's going into scripted television and bringing stuff over. And so W2 Worlds is coming to America through CBS Studios.
I'm shocked. Does that mean we have to watch it? We should watch it.
I think we should watch it for comparison.
Yes, we have a unique position here that we've watched a K-drama.
We'll see when that comes out, because obviously they just announced it a couple months ago. So maybe we'll start getting like announcements of, casting and all that coming soon. But for now, we know that it's coming.
My mouth is just dropped, like still in shock over
I wouldn't be surprised. You know what? I said the same thing, or I said this about Signal. This would be very interesting. It's a very good show, and we talked about it already.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard it, go back in the podcast feed and listen to that episode about Signal. I would love to see what an American version would look like.
Right.
Would they do the same exact thing, or would they play around a little more with time, or something like that? So, it's a cool thing that they're seeing what's going on in Korea with their entertainment.
It's how do you
let's try it. Let's try it over here.
It's a wave.
It's a wave.
The Hallyu wave, and
music is
west.
huge. TV, movies, like Korean entertainment is.
And
here,
I'm
man.
sure that besides Boys Over Flowers, you're feeling like the production values of these are just
the production
really good.
values are much better
and
than I
it's
anticipated.
2016 as well.
Right, 2016. No, the problem is not how they look. They look good.
Yeah.
Outside of like fashionable stuff from like Boys Over Flowers, but that's an old show at this point.
Yeah.
But no, the production values are good. It's just I have problems a lot of times so far outside of Signal with a lot of the plot stuff or a lot of the script stuff.
Yeah.
That's where I have my hangups on. So hopefully the next show that we do will have like either, plots or, script stuff that I really enjoy.
I am trying to do my best not to repeat main actors.
Oh, okay.
And so if you've seen an actor before, we're not going to do another show with that same actor in this season 1. At least in this season 1. I feel like I'm trying to get the most diversity in terms of like the shows and the plots, and this one had supernatural, fantastical elements, and so the next one won't. Or this one had a lot of romance, the next one won't. So I'm trying to be as fair as possible, because I know my K-drama tastes are not the same as your K-drama tastes. It's very obvious in 4 episodes deep that we are not the same as far as what we like in the world of K entertainment. But I'm hoping that the next few will find a winner again, like we did for Signal, and the scores will go higher. The soju will flow. All right. Anything else you wanted to add? That was a crazy. I'm still reeling. American.
No, that's gonna be all from me.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for listening, guys. Again, if you enjoyed our show, please rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and follow us on all the socials at ATC Daebak Pod. I'm Jessica, and this has been the Daebak K-Rambles Podcast.